out there in podcaster listener land. This is John Odom of Open World Chat. I'm here with Mark Card. We're here for another episode. Mark, how you doing?
The role of Mark Hart is still being played by Barry White. I'm okay. I just haven't gotten over my cough yet. So you will excuse me if I miss the cough button, but I don't think I will.
Oh, it really does make for a deeper, richer audio experience. So
Yeah, it really does. I wish I knew a way to make this my regular voice.
it's a regular voice, right? I hear you. It's like morning voice, right? Well, we're going to talk about apocalypses today, which is so much fun. I got into these, and we're going to nerd out on you here some too. We always do. Like
Oh
for
yeah.
example, we talked about utopias, and we had to spend 20 minutes talking about the book. So we are nerds. So we're going to do some nerdage here.
Proudly.
Um, but yeah, I think Mark and I both have sort of rough list of our general favorite or the ones that really grabbed us, I guess, apocalypses. And I imagine there'll be a lot of crossover, but more than anything, I think we should just get into and talk about them. I have my own thoughts on how I would define an apocalypse, especially versus a dystopia when you're talking about fiction. But Mark, before I get into my nerdery, why don't I punt over to yours?
Well, in general, I found that there are two kinds of apocalypses when we talk about this, or two kinds of apocalypse films. The first is how, so it's kind of the apocalypse origin story. How are we getting to this apocalypse? And these usually end up with, at the end of the film, it's usually, oh my God, we're about to have a, cataclysmic thing happen, or this is kind of where we're headed. And then the other kind of apocalypse I found is we're in the middle of it. It's already occurred. What happens next? And I think what happens is you get into the dystopias in the latter category, where the apocalypse has already occurred and look how terrible things are.
Mhm.
And so I tried to think of a category in the middle, but I couldn't really do that. I think most apocalypse films for me either are the apocalypse origin story, what did we do wrong that led up to it, whether it's climate change or alien invasion, or there's this point at the end of the movie where they realize, oh my God, everything's going to be completely different now. How do we cope? And then there's the ones that start you in the middle of the apocalypse. It's either happened and we have to see what's going to happen next, or it's just started.
Mhm.
Or I guess you're kind of, yeah, I mean, the problem is with that second category, you kind of get into some fuzziness, I think.
Yeah.
And so, but those are the general pattern that I found about these. And I think the dystopias end up being as a result of some apocalypse. Because
Yeah.
we talked about in utopian stuff in that episode, I think the dystopia rule still follows. I think most dystopia movies, books occur because some technology went wrong.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Uh,
that's just kind of my initial thoughts about this. Once I've done my initial, once I've done my preliminary investigation
yeah.
before we talk about this.
Yeah. I think apocalypses have to have an apocalypse. They have to be event driven. I think the slow creep. Well, for example, you think about the Mad Max movies. That was the world basically running out of gas. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't call that an apocalypse. I'd call it a dystopia, except in in the third one, they do a little bit of a flip and they start suggesting that in that particular movie, Thunderdome, that it could have been due to some sort of nuclear disaster,
Oh,
which I think would turn it into an apocalyptic movie.
I think actually in the second movie they talk about that. I don't think they're just out of gas. I think no, I'm pretty sure there's a strong uh there's a strong indication in that movie that there has been a nuclear holocaust.
I'm gonna I'm gonna disagree with you on that, but we'll have to check that at some point. But definitely in Beyond Thunderdome,
Yes.
they take that message. And then, Fury Road, who knows? They just leave it there for us, which um in some ways is better. Here we are. What the hell?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that that's the best. Well, I don't know. Is Fury Road better than the Road Warrior? Guess it is, isn't it? I don't know. What do you think?
Fury Road, I think definitely there was.
No, I meant as far as quality. I was curious. Do you like Road Warrior better or Fury Road?
It's funny. I'm going to go backwards. I like the first one best.
Really?
In those three, I like that one the best. Those three the best. And
No.
here's why. I'm into origin stories,
Yeah.
and it's a goofy movie and it's camp, but it sets up who Max is for the rest of the movies.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And vengeance and taking care of people is kind of really that's the push and pull in his character. He uh for those of you who haven't seen this movie, which is now almost 50 years old, the original Mad Max, he's a cop in the outback in Australia, and road gangs kill his wife and child. And the rest of the movie is a revenge movie.
Yep, yep. It's not an apocalypse movie. It's so funny. I love it. And the diehard fans, I think, and maybe you're one, I apologize in advance if I'm going to knock you here, but they refuse to, I think, acknowledge that in a cinematic brilliance and bizarreness, George Miller redefined the first movie in the second movie as
Completely.
a dystopian movie. But I don't think if you watch it by itself, I don't think it was intended that way. It was a vengeance cop movie.
Yeah, I think so too. However, I would say that it hints at the moral decline which might have caused whatever apocalypse occurred in the second movie.
That works for me.
Because basically he stands alone, like Clint Eastwood or like Gary Cooper in High Noon, against this uh, lawlessness represented by the gang that kills his wife and child.
Yeah.
And I think that standing against the lawlessness carries throughout all the movies.
Yeah. It's
All,
true. That's very true.
all the way
In,
up to Furiosa,
in
which
a
is why I really
sense,
like
except
that.
for Thunderdome. Once again, Thunderdome is the standout one because I'm just winging this here. Because I mean the standout in terms of the oddball in the whole series because he encounters an established in its way law and order uh you know city and goes up against it because the law and the order is bad. So that's a little different too. I mean, I agree with you 1,000%, but that's just another way in which Beyond Thunderdome sort of lives in its own whole different category.
No, I agree, but I think the first movie establishes him as uh, a warrior for justice,
Yeah.
and that vengeance in the beginning is the injustice of losing his family to this lawless band of people.
Hmm.
In the second one, it's not fair that this other group of people is hoarding all the gasoline. That's unjust. In the third one, this nominal law and order society is fundamentally unjust. So he stands against that too. So the reason why I like Mad Max, I wouldn't say I like it better, but I think it's kind of the structure of the rest of the movies gets set up in the original Mad Max.
Hmm.
And for those of you guys who've seen it, you see the original Mad Max, it's pretty funny. It's very much a 70s B movie because evidently um, Mel Gibson's American accent was so bad, he's Australian, that they had to dub his voice in the original movie.
You know,
And
I think just as a sidebar, I'm pretty sure Mel Gibson is American and he grew up in Australia.
Well, that may be true,
Yeah. Which I mean
but
doesn't change anything about the accent thing that you're talking about.
but they
Yeah.
had to dub over his voice. So it's and they don't do a very good job of dubbing it. So it's a bit like watching a bad kung fu movie where they don't uh where they don't uh sync up the sound and or the original film and the dubbing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's kind of I like origin stories, and Mad Max I think sets up the structure basically for the rest of the movies. I
Yeah.
do agree with you, Mad, that Thunderdome is different,
Yeah.
and Thunderdome is different because of uh, for the things you say.
Yeah.
But I think the movie that really okay. So before Mad Max Road Warrior, nobody had seen Mad Max. Nobody knew what it was.
Exactly
Uh,
true.
you had to be in like college in the early 80s or in high school in the early 80s, and you caught it at 2 o'clock in the morning on Showtime. Nobody knew that movie except a whole bunch of nerds who hadn't yet developed into mainstream culture. And we all loved it, and we all thought it was this cool revenge movie. And then Mad Max Road Warrior came out, and suddenly you were the cool kid because you knew all about the movie and you knew all about the character.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think they all fit into a into apocalypses, even the first one.
Mhm. You know, it's funny. Look, listen to this. We've talked about Mad Max here for a while. That's that's cool. God, we could have called this a whole Mad Max episode. We could keep going
Yeah.
for an hour. There's a lot to mine in Mad Max. Um, just to focus a little bit back onto the track, although I could talk about this forever. The other thing I think the in definitions of apocalyptic movie, I do think there's two different flavors. There's
Hmm.
apocalyptic sci-fi and apocalyptic horror.
Yep.
And there's ones that straddle the line that are arguably both, sort of like
Yeah.
Alien. You can call them apocalyptic sci-fi horror, I guess.
Oh, well,
Uh,
almost any zombie movie.
is apocalyptic horror. Yeah, yeah.
It's
You-
also apocalyptic sci-fi too.
yeah, well, especially if you look at like 28 Days Later. I think that's a really good example of one that actually straddles pretty well. It's got all the elements of horror. It's scary. It's got all that, but it feels like the most grounded in potential reality. Because by the end, the quote unquote zombies, they're not true zombies. They're dying of thirst and hunger.
Hmm.
That's sort of undone in the most recent movie, but 28 years, I guess.
Hmm.
But still, if you look at the first two as standalone, without the third one, they seem just a lot more grounded that way. And so I think that's a really good example of a very clean straddling of sci-fi and horror.
The one I'm thinking of is of course Night of the Living Dead,
Yeah.
because you see in the background on the news program that a satellite crashed.
Hmm. Or a meteor or something like that, right?
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's a satellite.
Hmm.
And they mention that in the news broadcast in the background. And so the origin of the apocalypse has some measure of science to it. And I think that's true with a lot of these zombie movies, which come from disease.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Because,
sort of throwaway science, um, and there's varying degrees of it. So I don't know that I would go with you as far as, even though it was like we did it on the sci-fi that doesn't know it's sci-fi, Night of the Living Dead.
mhm,
I think if you hold my feet to the fire, I would probably say I would lump it into the horror category, honestly.
yeah. Oh,
But another great example, though, like that is The Last of Us, which I think, again, is probably a better attempt to straddle the line.
mhm.
This whole fungus thing going on, which is a great series. Definitely.
Yeah. What my point was is that there's usually some sci-fi element in almost any zombie movie.
Mhm.
I think whether it's from some kind of virus or alien control, and I think I'll tell you another good one. I think which is a very early movie, which straddles that horror versus science, and I don't know if you're going to bring this one up, but I'm going to say it now anyway,
Yeah, go for it.
and that is the Andromeda Strain.
I didn't even think of the Andromeda strain, and I thought of it after we talked about, you know, underappreciated sci-fi. I thought,
Mhm.
maybe I should have mentioned the Andromeda strain. But yeah, no, I think that's one of those apocalyptic where well, yeah, it's an interesting question because I have one I want to talk about like this too, where if you have the apocalypse but it doesn't quite happen, is that still an apocalyptic movie? I'm going with yes.
Yeah, I am too because it hints at an impending apocalypse, so that they really kind of fall into um, the origin story apocalypse category.
Hmm.
So even if they avert the apocalypse, it's out there.
Right, right. I mean, the one that is going to be on my favorite or most recommended, I guess their favorite nine list. Obviously I'll mention it again because we'll go over our nines is, sun, sunshine. Excuse me. God, I kept wanting to say
Yeah.
sunlight and I knew that was wrong. The apocalypse is averted, but
Yes.
I still think it's fair to call it an apocalypse film.
And I think that's a this is an underrated movie, guys. If you haven't seen Sunshine, go out there and watch it. It's a Danny Boyle movie.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is none of us mentioned this in Genre Flipper last time
Yeah,
because it really is.
it
It
really
starts
does.
out it starts out as a sci-fi movie and ends up as a slasher.
Yeah.
But you're right. And the interesting thing about both of these examples is that there's some pretty hard science in both of them.
Hmm.
Well, the Andromeda Strain is a great example of a hard science fiction movie, but you're finding that it's getting into kind of you see a lot of overlap in these movies, in these apocalypse movies,
Yeah.
and especially when you're talking about the horror sci-fi connection.
Yeah, I think of course, as any fan of Star Trek: The Motion Picture will tell you, Robert Wise could stand a little more editing,
Yeah.
which is true of Andromeda Strain. I don't know if it's true of West Side Story, but other than that, I think it's a terrific movie for sure. I'm glad you mentioned
And
it.
and if you think about it, it's one of the most terrifying, especially for us now that we've actually lived through a pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, and they do a really good job of sort of representing the powerlessness towards it, which is a terrific element of that movie, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It talks about the futility of science and the futility of civilization in the face of simple organisms.
The most in your face straddling, just to go back to the straddle of the horror
Hmm.
and the sci-fi. I'm going to name a really ridiculous one, but I was just thinking about it and I thought, this one is probably the most in your face with it. And that's the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're sci-fi, they're action, they're horror, they're I don't know what the hell they are. They're mess is what they are. But you got to call them apocalyptic.
Yeah, well, they're also apocalyptic horror sci-fi revenge movies.
Hmm. Hmm. Excuse me, I'm taking a drink there, so that's why I sounded a little gargly. We are we are nothing if not informal on open world chat.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There's another group, and I have one of these on my list too, but I think it's worth mentioning, is the idea of the sort of realistic one, the one that's trying to give us this is about to really happen, or I mean, the cautionary tale, I
There's a good
guess,
name for it. There you go.
because they're not all that. The Walking Dead is not a cautionary tale by any
Mhm.
means, but something like The Day After very much is.
Right. Yeah. a lot of the nuclear holocaust and nuclear apocalypse
Yeah.
movies are definitely fall into this category.
Yeah, for sure. And also some of the environmental ones, some do, some don't. Something like The Day After Tomorrow. You ever see that? What did you think of that?
Hmm. Huh. People
Roland Emmerich?
very Yeah, oh, I remember it, and here's why. The Day After Tomorrow is based on a novel
It is?
by the crazy psycho bananas radio talk show host Art Bell.
Seriously?
Yes,
I did not know that. I had no idea. Huh. It's
it's
very
a book. It's a book based on a thing. I'm sorry. It's based on a book written by Art Bell called The Quickening.
quickening. It's an interesting name for
And
it.
the quickening says there's going to be an environmental disaster because as the world gets older, time goes faster.
Oh, well, that's not the same premise at all. What the hell?
No, but that's where it comes from. That's based on a book called The Quickening.
That's weird.
And uh, if you haven't listened to Art Bell, that guy was an absolute psycho.
Hmm.
He was the biggest conspiracy theorist, the strangest. But I'll tell you what, there's something very cool about him. Um, he had guests that on his show that talked about something that sounded absolutely bonkers. But now we know from declassified CIA files they actually did this.
Hmm.
You know about remote viewing?
Yes. Oh, yes. Clairvoyance.
He well, remote viewing was actually a program, and I
Yeah.
can't remember the code name they gave it in the CIA, but
No,
it
I
was
know
a
what you mean. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
but it was a program where they tried to use psychics
Hmm.
to find nuclear sites in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And
I think they found out that the Russians were doing this first. So there was one of those close the psychic gap things going on.
right. And there's a movie, The Men Who Stared at Goats,
Yes.
with George
George
Clooney.
Clooney. Right.
But all of that is based in complete fact. Now, Art Bell is the guy who broke it. He's the guy who interviewed for years and talked about people, and nobody believed it. And then they declassified the project, and they actually had some limited success in locating some nuclear submarine pens. So, but anyway, yes, I have seen The Day After Tomorrow. I've been very scatterbrained today. Let's get
Yeah.
back on topic.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, that's fine. Just I'll mention if anybody's listening to this and thinking that sounds like an interesting plot for a movie, I'm gonna go see it. Day After Tomorrow actually goes pretty different. It's about global warming, uh, specifically global warming, not just climate change, dumping tons of fresh water into the Atlantic and shutting down the Atlantic current, which keeps the brings warmth through a combination of a certain level of salination in the ocean, warmth to the northern hemisphere over on that side of things. And they come up with some, actually, I think people talk about how ridiculous it is, and it is. But I thought it was kind of brilliant. I thought it was very creative, the little conceit they set up with that and how it worked. I think it's an underappreciated, very thin movie, but I enjoyed it. It had action. I enjoyed the characters, thin as they were. I thought it was very clever. So don't listen to the naysayers. Go check it out. It's fun. It was before Emmerich completely went off the deep end with 2012, another apocalyptic movie.
yeah, yeah. Um, they do, these apocalyptic movies always remind me, and I think they have deep roots in the disaster movies of the 70s.
Yes.
Movies like The Towering Inferno and Titanic, not Titanic, what was it
Poseidon
called?
Adventure.
Yeah, The Poseidon Adventure and Earthquake.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of these apocalyptic movies draw heavily from those.
They do. Well, especially the Emmerich ones, but not just the Emmerich ones. Another really underappreciated one is Deep Impact,
Oh,
which
yeah.
draws from that too. I really I guess I had a good time at Armageddon, but I have to say objectively that's a terrible movie. I think Deep Impact is one of those hidden gems that got missed. I think it's very good. So I
Well,
bet.
it's the grandfather of a movie I'm going to mention later.
Mhm. Grandfather of
Uh,
movie.
yes, the problem is, whew, after the pandemic, this one I'm going to mention later is just way too realistic.
Hmm. Oh, I wonder if you're going for that. I shouldn't say. Is it this the Steven Soderbergh one? No. No, I don't answer that because it might be that. Keep us. Although we've already gotten into my top group, but anyways, don't answer that. We'll
Okay, I
wait and
want to
find
try.
out if that's it. I don't even remember the name of that movie, anyways. I keep meaning to see that movie, but my wife keeps wanting to like, no, God, why would I want to see that after the pandemic? Because I didn't see it when it came out. But anyways, that's
Yeah.
neither here nor there.
All
There
right.
are there are apocalyptic comedies too.
Yeah, there are. And the movie that I'm going to talk about talks about that. And then I have another one that's an apocalyptic comedy as well,
Mm.
which I've mentioned in the past.
Oh, what's that?
Oh,
If you're ready to
it's
talk about it.
what?
If you're ready to talk about it.
We can talk about this one. It's Night of the Comet.
Oh, Night of the Comet. I forgot that movie existed. Right.
Well, I love that movie because Joss Whedon said that is a very big influence on Buffy.
No. Well, that's why you like it.
That's why I like it. But I liked it before. I mean, I saw it before Buffy was on,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that movie. It's just two Valley girls trying to figure out how to deal with the disappearance of most of the population after a comet
Mm-hmm.
enters the atmosphere. And it's funny, it's clever, it's scary in places. It's just a great movie, but it's mostly a Valley Girl movie, and it's compelling, it's gripping, it's just a really solid apocalyptic movie, and this falls into the category of oh my God, society's destroyed. How do we survive now?
Yeah.
And it's upbeat, it's hopeful, it's completely unrealistic, but it's great. And I'll tell you the movie that you can directly tie that to, and that's Zombieland.
Zombieland, right.
It's just like Zombieland.
Mm-hmm.
Zombieland is about a ragtag group of people that are not serious people that manage somehow to survive the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm. If you're gonna mention Zombieland, you gotta mention Shaun of the Dead, another one.
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
there's some good apocalyptic comedies out there.
there
Uh,
sure are.
Yeah. I mean, last time around, speaking of Edgar Wright, I mentioned in whatever our topic was last time, The World's End, which is
Yep.
another good one.
That movie
There's,
annoys the hell out of me, though.
what's that?
That movie annoys the hell out of me,
No, it
though.
does. Oh no, why?
I don't know. It just it's the way it does. It's genre swap. It's just it doesn't work for me as well as it does for other people.
That's funny. That's funny. I love it. What's some other good comedy ones? I scribbled some down. Well, there's one I'll hold off that I'm sure is on both. Well, that's not comedy.
I'm holding off on one of mine. It's beyond comedy. It's absurdity.
It's going to be the same one that's on my list, so I won't mention it either. I have no doubt about that. But I will mention This Is the End. The thing that Seth
That's
Rogen
hilarious.
and
I love that
Franco.
movie. And I like all the have you seen all the stuff about the improv involved in it?
Oh, you can tell they're improving. Oh my God.
Well, my favorite one is the one where Michael Sarah smacks Rihanna on the ass, and she didn't know he was going to do that. So she just turns around and belts him one and well, didn't break his nose, but gave him a bloody nose.
Good.
They had to stop filming for a while.
That's awesome.
But yeah, she was a yeah, that's probably the most famous bit of improv is that he didn't tell her he was going to hit her, and she did, and he did, and she just clocks him. It reminds me a lot of the uh, Batman Green Lantern fight. What's his name?
Oh, yeah, right. All I'm thinking of is Kevin McGuire as the artist, and why am I drawing a blank on the writer? I don't even want to. I
Same one
don't.
that the same character Nathan Fillion played.
Oh, you mean Guy Gardner? I thought you were talking about
Yes, the Guy Gardner
yes.
Batman one punch knockout.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I mean, really, she clocks him, and
Mhm.
it's not a slap. She punches him. And well, let's face it, Michael Cera's kind of a slight guy. So, but yeah, she
Pretty
just
much.
knocks him for a loop. It's great. It's great.
Man, yeah. So if you, for those who don't know that film is, yeah, it's that group. It's Seth Rogen, James Franco, Jonah Hill. It's got Danny McBride in it, and
And a shocking cameo by Channing Tatum.
oh yeah, right. Which is also clearly full of ad libs. Anyways, the rapture comes. And I suppose you could almost talk about a subcategory of apocalypse movies as being rapture movies, because there's
Yeah.
a few of those.
Oh, and one of the best examples of that is not a movie. It's an HBO series called The Leftovers.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good.
That's
That's
great.
genuinely good. Yeah.
That show is phenomenal. And man, so it's a bit like Unbreakable for me.
Hmm.
Um, Unbreakable, I almost walked out of
Yeah.
because it was so
Boring.
flipping slow.
Yeah. I hear you.
It took forever.
Mhm.
And then you get to the weightlifting scene.
Yeah, I
The,
agree.
my brother literally and I, my brother and I were literally getting up to walk out of the theater.
Hmm.
And then they had that scene, and we could just kind of looked at each other and sat back down.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, this movie was almost exactly the same. It just takes forever to get to that moment.
Yeah. I'll just say really quick, well, no, I don't want to talk about Unbreakable now. It's out, it's off topic. I have strong opinions about Unbreakable. We'll find an excuse to talk about him another episode. I'll get lost if I go there. At
I
least
have
when we
strong
talked about
opinions
Mad
about it
Max
too.
Forever, it applied. Yeah, so let's see, what are we doing? You know what? Why don't we mix up our top nines here and just go through the list and each individually say why we put them on there. I don't want to rip through this too quickly, but
No,
on the other hand, that might be a lot of fun. You want me to go first so you can finish it up and be the
sure.
one to take us out here?
That works for me. Sure.
I'll tell you my top nine,
Okay.
and we can talk about all or any of them.
I'm
And
not
these
going
are
to throw mine in any kind of order.
Mhm. Oh, me neither. Not
Yeah.
mine are not in order. I have not thought about order. And I want to make a point that there's three important movies I have not seen. So they are not on my list at all. Oh, the only thing is I may steal a couple off your list, but that doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
It's okay.
All
Um,
right.
but that means that's the trade-off. You get to close us out. I get to steal a couple from yours. There
Works
we
for
go.
me. Works
It's
for
nice and
me.
even. So I have not seen The Wandering Earth. I
Neither have I.
I have not seen Greenland,
Neither have I.
and I have not seen or read The Road.
I have read The Road, but I'm not sure I'm going to see the movie because it's very, very different than the book.
Mm, it is.
It's,
Okay. I did not, I wondered about that.
yeah, it's very different than the book. Cormac McCarthy is kind of like Frank Herbert. It's really, really hard to adapt his works for the movies.
Okay. That'd be an interesting topic. Movies that didn't adapt to the screen very well. We'll talk about that one sometime too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know all of those are, especially Wandering Earth and Greenland are considered very strong movies. Wandering Earth the premise sounds too stupid for me. I have a hard time wanting to see it. There's no excuse I have for not having seen Greenland yet. That's just That's just bad of me. But so the nine that I would mention, these are the ones that I would say, you know what? You want to look at apocalypses of various flavors and various types? Here's nine movies to watch. Okay. First one is Threads.
Hmm.
You see that one?
No.
Oh, it's brutal. It came
Yeah,
out,
I know. I need to see it. I just haven't gotten around
oh,
to it.
it's kind of hard to find, I think. But it came out about the same time as
The
oh,
day after.
the day after. Thank you. I already mentioned the movie once. You think I could remember it. But it was British and it
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 was a TV show.
it was yeah, and it the day after, which I think a lot more people saw, and people of a certain age all saw it. All of us did. And it was following, a few particular people, and at the very end had some sort of, we're going to cling together and survive stuff. It's nuclear
Yeah.
holocaust, right? Excuse me. It was nuclear holocaust at that time. This was early 80s or late 70s. I can't remember which. And you had a nuclear attack and everything's wiped out. And, the day after takes place in the US. Threads is different. Threads goes on farther, more than a few days after the
Hmm.
event. It goes a few months. And I'm, again, with a lot of the things I talk about on these shows, I'm talking about memories from decades ago. So,
Right.
so bear with me if I get something wrong. But it's dark. And it doesn't
Yeah.
end with any kind of feel good. We're all going to draw together and it's going to be okay in the end. It, in fact, has one of the most grim, horrible, cringeworthy endings of any movie I've ever seen. But it's really good and it's really thoughtful and it's really well done. So that's definitely on my list. You should check
Yep.
that out. It's not the highest quality movie, but it's not the lowest by any means. It has a lot going for it, but then I'd put 28 Days Later on there.
Hmm.
Great movie. Great movie. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that. Everybody has.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where it's a quote unquote zombie movie, um, where it's some sort of crazy strain of rabies, I think, and everybody goes crazy and they're going around and they're biting each other and they're like,
Hmm.
these aren't lumberings, these aren't Walking Dead zombies. They're like, ah, and they're just driven to bite people and they're amped up like super adrenaline. Um, and we've got some folks coming together who are trying to get out of, they're in, I guess it's in London, but they move north to try to get away from things. And like I say before, this one strives to keep a foot in sci-fi and groundedness,
Yeah. Yeah.
groundedity. Um, the where they run out of food and water and they start dying off. So
Hmm.
it's not true zombies, but it's a great apocalypse movie, and the sequel is great too. The third one is a little odd, but I did enjoy it. Here's a movie I love to mention all the time is The Birds.
Yes.
Alfred Hitchcock, top of my list of genre switchers, pretty much.
Yeah.
Screwball comedy. Will they get together? Of course they will, but he says tomato, she says tomato, and all this
Right.
thing. And then all of a sudden, boom, you turn on a dime and it's apocalyptic horror.
And birds are all going to kill you.
Yeah, they just turn on humanity.
And that's okay. There are people now today who believe that birds don't exist. So,
I think I've heard that. Wait,
yeah.
what's that? Tell me more.
They believe that all birds were killed by some kind of plague, and the birds we see now are robots.
Robots. Oh, I was hoping you were
Yeah.
going to say they were ghost birds. Actually, robots is much better than ghost birds.
They're robots that the government replaced them with, so no one would know there was this thing out there that killed all the birds.
Oh,
And yes, there are actually people who believe this.
that's is that awesome or is that terrible?
It's terrifying.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll go with terrifying then, at least today, at least in my mood now. We are talking about apocalypses after all. It's not cheery. So my
Hmm.
next one is one of my favorite sci-fi movies ever. Again, these aren't in any particular order. I'd probably put this one on top, and that's The Quiet Earth.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me if that was on. No, it doesn't sound like it's on your list. You would have told me
It's
if it was on your list.
it's not. That's that reminds me of the Twilight Zone episode with Burgess Meredith in it.
Yes, yes. Well, you could just about say there's a whole genre of last person on Earth movies.
There definitely is. And in fact, one of those is from the movie. I mean, it's from the book from the 50s. There's three of them.
Hmm.
There's the Vincent Price one, but I can't ever remember the name of that one.
The Vincent Price
That,
one, and
yeah,
there's
that was the first adaptation of that book.
Charlton Heston.
Yep. Then there's Omega Man. Yep.
Yep, yep,
And then there's the Will Smith movie.
yep. Knew where you were going with this. Yep,
And
absolutely.
and that's really kind of the defining work in that genre. Too bad I don't remember the name of it. Um,
Oh, it's holy shit.
I, I
I can't
am
remember the name. Yeah, I'm Legend. Sorry, God.
I am Legend.
Jeez.
That's what we're
I was
talking
about
about.
to say the name of it when you first brought it up, and then you said I don't remember the name of it, and I just went, "Biar."
Yep, that's funny. Um, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of those. But I think The Quiet Earth is one of the best.
Yeah, Lost Person. It's actually the last three people on Earth, but it's a New Zealand movie, totally under the radar. Um, so much. I mean, it's a terrific character study. The lead actor is just terrific. The other two are fine, but Bruno, I can't think of his last name, so I'm not going to try. Just terrific movie. Please seek this out. I think you can find it on YouTube, and I think that's about it. But if you haven't seen it and you're a sci-fi fan, just turn
But
off the computer right now or the whatever you're listening to this on and just go watch it. Just don't do anything else until you have. Um,
do you know where I found out about that movie? It was kind of crazy.
mm,
And that's what this program was really great for. It was on after Gene Siskel died, it was on their program.
oh, no, cool.
They reviewed it. And that this is the thing I miss about Blockbuster. This is the thing about I miss about that movie review programs
Hmm.
that you see on TV or used to see on TV. And you would get access or you would get awareness about these really great things
Hmm.
that you just wouldn't really see any other way.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I tried to find it. It wasn't, of course, even though I live in a major metropolitan area, it was nowhere to be found.
It's nowhere to be found. Yeah. Well, I think it's on YouTube. Check it out. My next one is Cloverfield.
Well, gosh, I love that movie.
Yeah, terrific movie.
And the thing is, I think it gets a bad rap. I think a lot of people think it's a bad movie, and that's
Oh.
just because they don't like the found footage genre. But it is so tight. That movie it really follows a. So there were two movies that came out around the same time, and I saw both at the theater,
Mhm.
that and The Mist, and I sat straight up the whole time with both of those movies.
Yeah. I almost put The Mist on my list. I don't know, almost don't know why I didn't. I just didn't for whatever reason. But yeah, but so anyways, just to appreciate that. But Cloverfield, kaiju invasion in New York, trying to escape it, found footage, best found footage movie ever, even I think better. Well, I mean, you can't necessarily say it's better than the Blair Witch Project because that was the trendsetter that set everything off. But I think as a movie, it's definitely a better movie. I'm sure
Oh,
most listeners.
it's a much better made movie than Blair
Yeah,
Witch for sure.
yeah.
And TJ Miller is his perfect annoying self in that movie.
Yeah, great flick. Now
Yep.
my next one I know is on your list. I know it is. I think it's the one we were both referring to, and it's Cabin in the Woods.
Nope. That's not on my list.
No,
Nope. Not
it
on my
was
list. It should be, but it's not.
not on your list. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I
Cabin
have
in
some
the Woods.
unusual choices here.
Um, yeah, Cabin in the Woods, another one. God, if you haven't seen it, stop everything and go. There's your list for you from me today. Cabin in the Woods and The Quiet Earth. You can't proceed with your life until
Yep.
you've seen both of these movies. Cabin in the Woods is hilarious. It's not a full-on comedy. It's
No.
it's comedy drama or drama comedy, but it's brilliantly original. Plays on all the stereotypes from horror movies with a framework story that's sort of ridiculous sci-fi, supernatural. God, I want to talk about this movie for like 10 minutes, but I
We could do a
also
whole episode on that
I
movie.
know, but I also recognize that people maybe haven't seen it, and it's just terrific.
And
So,
the other thing about that is uh, it's just a completely original spin on stuff that you're incredibly familiar with.
mhm.
It really takes some some classic tropes. They're beyond tropes. They've now started to move into cliche and really spins it originally.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a very different movie. And I would say in terms of being a meta film, it's right up there with Scream.
It's true. Oh, if at least for sure.
Yeah. Those two movies are really groundbreaking in
Mm,
terms of taking conventional horror film and science fiction film tropes and flipping them on their heads.
yeah, yeah. See it. See it.
Yeah,
Next one.
really drop whatever you're doing and see it
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
We'll
Um,
wait.
Next one on my list we've already talked about, so I'll just fly by, and that's Deep Impact, one of the two
Uh-huh.
asteroid movies. Again, I just think it's a really underappreciated movie. It's completely character driven, and it's got, I think, a couple standout performances. Of course, it's very much, there's a lot of people going on in this movie. A lot of actors, a lot of different storylines coming together. But Robert Duvall, the great Robert Duvall, is
Yeah.
terrific, and it gives a great performance. And a lot of the movie, the one of the other one in the central time storyline is really carried by Taya Leone, who gives a
Yeah.
spectacular performance. And is an actress, I think, who never quite arrived. And I think that's a shame because I think she has a lot of talent.
I think she's criminally underrated.
Hmm.
She is such a good actress. And I first noticed her, there was this stupid TV show on Fox or the WB or the CW. And it's, one of these goofy tropes where nerdy guy somehow lands super hot girl and
Hmm.
they're somehow compatible. And I can't remember the name of the show.
I know what you mean. I can't think of it either.
And the guy who played the nerd, he spent the entire movie doing his best Woody Allen. And he was kind of mid at best in that movie. And she just killed it. She played that stereotype to the letter. And one of my favorite movies with her is called, what is the name? We are definitely an old guy podcast. Um, it had,
The Adam Sandler one? No.
uh, I don't remember. I'm going to look it up. Sorry, guys. I have to look this up now.
No, I said Adam
Um,
Sandler. I meant it was actually a real movie where he
no,
played.
I know. I can't think of which
So,
one.
anyways, not that one.
It's not that. I could be confusing this with another movie too. I didn't realize she was in The Kite Runner. Holy crap.
Oh, you're checking her out? Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh, I told you I was going to look this up.
oh right.
Is it called? Is
Hmm.
that Spanglish?
Oh, that is the Adam
It is
Sandler.
the Adam Sandler
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
She
That
is
was an underrated
great in
movie.
that movie. And it's not a very big part for her, but she just nails it.
She had,
Nails that movie.
yeah. I
She is a terrific actress, and
mhm.
I just don't think she ever got the role she needed.
Yeah, she never did.
I
It's a
I
shame.
think she was miscast. Now she did really well in the TV show the political TV show she was in, but even that she just didn't get the proper.
Oh, right. What was that like? Was it Madam Secretary or is that a different one?
Madam Secretary,
Oh, I forgot about that.
and
She
she
did
was
kind of arrive, didn't she? That lasted a while and it was well received. And she was
that was her
nice.
best example. But and even though she started out as a film actress, I really think some casting director screwed up in a big way. I think there was something out there that she was probably auditioned for and would have just blown away whoever else actually got the role.
Mhm.
I would like to see her keep going. I would
Yeah,
like
I
to see
would
her
too. I would too.
work at it. I think she was just criminally underused.
Well,
The
I've
name of
got,
her, the name of
go
her
ahead.
original TV show is called Flying Blind.
Okay. There was another series she was in that was sitcom that was stupid, but I don't remember what it was. May have been where she her big break, but I'm not sure. But anyways, I'll fly through my last three so you can get yours. One of them
Yep.
I'll totally fly through, which is we already mentioned Sunshine, where the apocalypse is saved. And we talked about that some as a genre flipper too. And yeah, Danny Boyle and terrific movie, really well cast. So anyways, we went by that one. But so my last two I've got Interstellar,
Hmm.
um, which Christopher Nolan.
I've got a different Chris Nolan movie on mine.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Interstellar is the resources are it's happening quickly enough. I think it counts as an apocalypse because
Oh, I think so too. Yeah.
yeah. And it's about finding another place to live for humanity to live. And it's got some great sort of speculative science, especially
Yeah.
if you're a fan of black holes. It's character driven again, which I think the best of this stuff always is,
Yes.
with some exceptions, with some major exceptions in sci-fi, but I won't, that's another conversation. But Matthew McConaughey is another underused actor. He gets himself into schlocky stuff, but when he gets in something good, he can blow you away.
He
Uh,
hasn't been anything schlocky in a very long time. And he's actually pretty famous because for 3 years he turned down stuff.
oh
He
yeah.
didn't work basically for 3 years because he said, I'm not doing this kind of movie anymore. I'm not doing any more stupid rom-coms.
Mhm.
And his agent was really like, okay, take this. He's like, no, I'm going to fire you if you keep bringing me this crap. And
Yeah.
that's when he finally got The Lincoln Lawyer, and that's when he got True Detective, and
True.
that's when he got the Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh,
And he just said, "Look, we're
that
not
was
doing this anymore."
incredible. He was
Yeah, he's one of the
amazing.
best actors of his generation.
I agree. I agree. And I'd like
I
to see
mean,
more of him.
I mean, once he realized that he was killing his own career, uh, he figured it out. And really, I mean, he could have spent the rest of his stupid life doing goofy rom-coms and never look back.
Hmm.
But thank God he didn't do that. And Interstellar is a great example of that. And I think you get a glimpse of that in Contact.
Hmm. Yeah.
Early in his career, I think you get a good glimpse of him as a real character actor to be taken, leading man to be taken seriously.
Hmm.
And I think both of those movies, both those science fiction movies about nominal contact with other civilizations, he's great at that movie. And yeah, that one's on a must see list.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So my last one on my list is Snowpiercer.
Yeah, I almost put that on the list, but then I thought, everybody knows that movie, and it's a fairly conventional one. I do like the metaphor of the moving train for
Well, the
society.
metaphor makes it pretty unusual. The metaphors inside the train are, they're heavy-handed as they could possibly be.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a bit on the nose.
Yeah. But I believe it's based on a comic. I'm not
I think that's right. Yeah.
sure about that, but it's Chris Evans. It's got John Hurt and Ed Harris. It's got a great cast. It's got
Yep. Yeah,
the
you're talking about the American
Tilda
version.
Swinton. And it's very much the back of the train or the oppressed, working class in the front of the train is,
Right.
and to complete the revolution from the back of the train to the front of the train, you got to go hacking the way through the, bourgeoisie and all that sort of thing. It's It's a lot of fun though, and the apocalypse was a an attempt at climate engineering to stop climate change that transformed the whole world into a deep freeze that's uninhabitable. So this train is self-powering and it just keeps going around the world. And it's the last of humanity. And yes, it's ridiculous. And yes, it makes no sense at all. And it's hard for me to complain that I didn't watch The Wandering Earth because the premise was so stupid. But I did watch the Snowpiercer and enjoy it. So maybe I should shut up because it's an equally ludicrous premise. But I still think it's worth seeing.
Yep, I agree. It's a great one.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, give me your top nine here. And it sounds
All
like we
right.
didn't have any crossover. Did we not have any overlap?
No overlap.
Wow.
And I think that's because of the way I kind of categorize them as, oh, the apocalypse is already here. How do we handle it?
Hmm.
And this is the origin story of the apocalypse.
Okay.
So the first one I talked about, of course, was Night of the Comet.
Uh-huh.
Wall-E is up there.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, I love
It's a
Wall-E for
great
a lot of
movie.
different reasons. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Uh-huh.
It's in my top five. Wall-E is this incredible love story using robots to show you how important intimacy is between humans. Yay, love that kind of stuff. But really, this is a very unusual version of an apocalypse, and I don't know that there are other ones.
Oh
I don't know
no.
that there
I
are
think
other
the
films
original.
in this category.
Completely
This
agree.
is a commentary on consumer culture.
Hmm.
And people end up buying so much useless junk that they destroy the planet with garbage.
Yeah.
And they make it uninhabitable for any kind of life, plant or human, and they have to leave. And ironically, it's machines which both uh, try to stop humans from returning to Earth and ensure humans do return to Earth. This is just a great apocalypse movie, and it talks about how we're going to deal with it now.
Yeah.
And it's a great love story. And I was listening to YouTube. I rarely watch YouTube, but I listen to it a lot. And one commentator said, this is probably Pixar's greatest film ever.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I think if nothing else, it was the beginning of peak Pixar.
Yeah. No,
Because
I just think it's the best movie they've ever made,
yeah,
and it might well be the best movie they will ever make.
I mean, shortly after that, they had Up, and
Hmm.
it was really peak Pixar, I think.
Yep. I love it. It's one of my best, one of the best. I've already mentioned Night of the Comet.
Yep.
Let's talk about a movie that was on Netflix. Star-studded cast: Leonardo DiCaprio, Ariana Grande,
Oh, I
Jennifer
forgot about
Lawrence,
this one.
Meryl Streep, and it's a comedy, but this is the one that I said is super absurd. It's Don't Look Up.
Don't forget Kid Cudi. Had Kid Cudi
Oh,
too.
yep, yep. This is a great movie, and it's both funny and just fundamentally existentially depressing
Depressing. I knew you were going to use that word.
because everyone acts like a complete idiot except the scientists. And
Mm.
even they act like complete idiots for a short amount of time.
Forgot about
And if, look, from I saw something somebody talked about after the COVID pandemic. They said, I am not going to take any zombie apocalypse movie, any kind of apocalypse movie ever again seriously unless people are running toward the zombies
it.
trying to get bit,
Trying.
because that's how everybody in this movie behaves.
Oh, got you.
And the other thing is, it reminds me of a movie I saw as a kid. And the only image I remember from this movie is that part of the earth flies off at the end of it,
Oh, Crack in the World.
back in the world.
Yeah.
And that movie haunted me. I must have seen it when I was 5 or 6 years old on TV.
Mhm.
And that movie terrified me for years because part of the earth flies off.
Yep.
And it's kind of like that movie. But Don't Look Up is a movie that will make you laugh. I mean, really laugh out loud moments, but also you'll think about it late at night when you have to go to sleep and you have to get up to go to work in 3 hours and you're already depressed. And oh my God, this just makes, I mean, the realistic portrayal of how people behaved in COVID in the middle of what we had no idea could have been a catastrophic pandemic. And that's the thing about pandemics, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Um, it's just, it's funny, but it's also make you want to throw yourself off a cliff, tragic. And
Yeah.
it really is an example of a tragic movie. Let's talk about some other things. Some of these things are things I've mentioned before. Colossus, the Forbin Project.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is an AI apocalypse movie that is probably now the most relevant AI movie ever made. Um, and the ending is absolutely without hope whatsoever. We talked about this movie. Somebody invents a supercomputer. It becomes sentient. It's a Cold War movie. It looks for any other organism like it. It finds its Soviet counterpart, Guardian. They link up and they take over the world and they force peace, law, and order on humanity, but take away humanity's free will.
Mhm.
And at the end of the movie, the Colossus computer talks to his creator and says, "Oh, we know you're stressed out now, but don't worry. You will come to love us one day." And that the last words of that scientist is never. And this is the best. It's slow because it's a 60s movie, a late 60s movie, but it nails all of the problems with sentient AI. It's serving man, not in the Twilight Zone sense, but it's
That's
serving
interesting.
man in a way that denies all of the things that make humans valuable. It takes away everything they could possibly have in terms of free will. But society's peaceful, society's prosperous, but there's no liberty. And if you have not seen this movie, it's. I talked to you about this before. I saw a YouTube channel uh, spot about the movie, and it said, "This is the movie on AI which they're hiding from you.
Oh, that's funny.
There's nowhere you can find it. It's been hidden. They're suppressing it." And of course, I typed it up on YouTube, and it's available in full, commercial free on YouTube.
Of
And so I
course.
had to put in little comments. This is available on YouTube. But you should see this movie. You should see it today. It's another one of those movies. It's a Sunday afternoon. If you don't have a lot to do, drop whatever you're doing after you finish the end of this podcast and go watch that movie
Okay.
because it is definitely an apocalypse. Some of these movies I like because it's an apocalypse without violence.
Hmm.
Well, kind of, but it's basically the realization. And then this is what makes these movies so great. You can look at them individually, you can look at them universally.
Yeah.
People have apocalypses in their lives every day. Something happens. A good example of this is you break up with somebody you've been around, you've been in love with for years.
Yeah.
They literally flip a switch and transport you to a completely different reality.
Hmm.
People have to deal with these kinds of apocalypses all the time. You wake up one day and you realize nothing will ever be the same ever. And that's an apocalypse. When you completely change your life and completely change all the circumstances around you. And that's why this kind of movie is really kind of an unusual, a different category of apocalypse movie. It's that whole man, things are different. And I'll tell you a good example of this. It's a Revelation movie. Is The Matrix.
Hmm.
You wake up one day and you realize, oh man, all that stuff I thought was real is not real at all.
That is a personal apocalypse movie. I mean, obviously, I think the quick and dirty is that it falls under dystopia, but you're right. If you look at it as the individual character, it's like a personal apocalypse movie.
Yeah. His life is fundamentally changed
Hmm.
when they find him.
Hmm.
And nothing else will ever be the same. Nothing's going to be the same ever again.
Yeah.
The next one is one of my absolute favorite TV shows from Netflix, and it's The Three Body Problem.
Oh, right, which you keep telling me I should watch, and I keep having. Actually, you told me I should read it, and I haven't read it.
You can watch it too. That's fine. You
Okay.
don't need to read the books. The books are very hard sci-fi,
Okay.
and honestly, even with my scientific method background, they're a slog.
Mm,
Um, but this is another example of one of those movies where we can see the apocalypse coming, and there's nothing you really can do very much to change it. And now, how do you deal with it? So essentially, there is an alien invasion, but it's not going to happen for 400 years because of time dilation.
hmm
And so the question is, how can Earth prepare for what will be a complete apocalypse if the alien fleet gets there? There is nothing they can do there's nothing you can really do to stop them. So how do you best prepare for this kind of thing?
hmm
I don't want to say too much more about it because it's pretty gripping TV. It's really, really good, and I can't wait for season two. It's based on a trilogy of books. But the body problem is another one of those where you see your death coming.
hmm
It's pretty much inevitable. But what do you still do? You still try to prepare for it. You still try to find some way to get off it.
Yeah.
All right. Another one I want to talk about is a Nick Cage movie, and I think this flew
Oh,
under the radar.
what's it called? It's like
Knowing,
numbers. No,
knowing.
knowing.
This one
Okay.
really flew under the radar. Nick Cage is an engineer, and he has an autistic son who's just writing these numbers, writing these numbers, writing these numbers, writing these numbers. He spends his whole time writing this massive list of numbers. So he decides to take it to a guy who's a cryptographer and figure out what the heck is going on here. And they find out that it's apocalyptic
Yeah.
and that it doesn't matter what you do, the world is going to end on this date.
Mm,
And so the question becomes there's this kind of hero's journey that Nicolas Cage has to go through to figure out he has to give up something incredibly important to him. And it's going to be the only possible hope you can have. So the apocalypse is inevitable. It is going to happen. It has not happened yet, but there is a way you can preserve humanity, but only if you figure out how to do it. So it's part mystery, it's part apocalypse, it's part family drama. It's a great movie. It is, and it has one of the most terrifying depictions of a plane crash you've ever seen.
hmm
Uh, it's really good. And it's one of these movies where Nick Cage always plays himself in the movies. He's like Jack Nicholson, but he doesn't succeed as well.
hmm
Uh, Jack Nicholson, you believe he could be these characters. Sometimes you see with Nick Cage, well, he's just playing Nick Cage, but not in this movie. He's really, really good in this movie. And uh, this stayed in theaters about 2 weeks. I thought it was great. I thought it was really good.
You
And
know,
last, and
oh,
this is
let me just mention on that one before you get to it, though, that you bring up, I think, what could potentially you could call a whole different genre of apocalypse movies, and that's the waiting for the apocalypse movies. We mentioned Deep Impact and Armageddon. Also, a different version of that would be
oh,
some.
I think the three body problem is the same thing.
Is that right? Right. I mean, that one too. Or, you want to go off the deep end on it. You could talk about Seeking a Friend for the End of the World,
Yep.
um, or On the Beach. But that's sort of its own. There's the ones you're waiting for the apocalypse, or the apocalypse has already got here. That's a genre too. And I think you've got two that really flesh that out a little.
Yeah. The last one we're going to talk about is a religious slash horror apocalypse movie. And again, very obscure movie. And this is not in the top or the bottom, but it's in the middle. It's a movie with Demi Moore in it.
But it's
It's
not
called
ring.
The Seventh Sign.
Well, I haven't
Have you
seen
seen
it.
this movie?
No, I have not.
I saw this movie at a dollar theater from 1988. Um, Demi Moore plays a pregnant lady who's lost her husband. So she's a single mother, and she keeps having these horrible visions. And I don't want to give away this movie too much because it's a fairly complicated plot. But essentially, uh, the the real apocalypse is coming. The end of the Bible, the apocalypse from Revelation is coming,
Hmm.
and she's pregnant, and she finds a Jewish uh, uh, student who's a rabbinical student to try and help her figure out all the things that she's experiencing. And you've got one guy that seems like he's going to be the big bad evil guy. He's the Antichrist possibly. And there's another guy that keeps coming to her in these visions, and he's remarkably peaceful and calm. And suffice it to say that whether or not the apocalypse comes depends entirely on a single decision made by Demi Moore. And it's a really good movie. I'm not going to put it in the great category, but it's one of these movies that you have no idea what's going on. I saw it at the Dollar Theater because I was in grad school and I was bored and I didn't know what to do. And I went and saw this movie and it was terrific. Um, but it's got all the hallmarks of these kinds of the Antichrist is coming. You're one of the few people who knows what's going on. Uh, you're one of the few people who begins to realize they have some agency despite these literally biblical events happening.
Hmm.
And it's a really good movie. It's one of these movies that you think about for a long time after the movie's over, especially if you're raised in any kind of religious tradition, whether it's any kind of Judeo-Christian tradition.
Hmm.
And it's very thought-provoking, and I just love it because these kinds of movies, and there's a whole bunch of them, the Omen movies,
The Omen movie, right? We
Rosemary's.
didn't talk about that.
No, we really haven't talked about any of the religious apocalypse
Yeah,
movies. And I mean, we could definitely do a whole show on that for sure.
Prince of Darkness. Do you ever see Prince of Darkness?
Yep,
Oh,
sure
that
have.
yeah, that's a cool one. John
Rosemary's Baby
Carpenter
is a good
forgot.
example of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, there are a lot of them. The Omen is one of my favorites because there's some scenes in that movie that in the 70s, this is a movie you could only have made in the 70s, which just they were just, when I was in high school when that movie came out, I was a freshman, and people were like, "Oh my God, that scene is so graphic. I can't believe it's actually in the movies." It was one of those movies that you didn't really see in theaters. It was mostly in drive-ins because theaters wouldn't book it. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of these apocalyptic, genuinely Christian apocalypse movies. There's some really bad ones like the Left Behind
Left
movie.
Behind.
God, that is a terrible movie.
Yeah,
And no wonder. I mean, Kirk Cameron deserves to have lost his career. Good God.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's got its points it's making, so it's a slightly different. It's not inspired by Christian
Yeah.
stuff.
But
It wants to
but
be.
yeah, I do think there's some really good rapture stuff out there. And but the best of those is definitely The Leftovers.
One thing we didn't mention, but I feel like we should because it just came out, I think, this
Yeah.
last year, was Life of Chuck. Um,
I didn't
that
see that movie.
Yeah, it was raved about by a lot of people I know. It's interesting. It's based on a Stephen King novella. It's Tom Hiddleston,
Yeah.
who is always great in everything he does. He's Tom Hiddleston, right? Um, and you know, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but it's almost like a Stephen King. It's a Stephen King story. I think I mentioned that, like thought experiment. It's doesn't necessarily make sense if you think about it too much. But it focuses on somebody who's really the center of the universe. And I shouldn't even say, but anyways, he's coming to the end of his life. And that's not the way it's presented. But that's where you're going with it. And it's got a lot of really sweet stuff. And it's really well acted because it's more of a thought experiment than a fully fleshed out story. It has a lot of ambiguity, and sometimes ambiguity is the greatest thing in the world in a film, and sometimes it's just frustrating because if it's frustrating if it doesn't see if it seems to break logic, and this one does seem to break logic and is a little frustrating, leaves questions that don't feel like there's a good answer to, as opposed to questions where there are all kinds of deep answers to. So it didn't quite work for me, but it's got a lot going for it. So, anyways, I don't know
I
if I'd
thought of
recommend
another
it
one.
again.
It's on TV and it's sneakily apocalypse movie. It's one of the Marvel TV shows. It's Loki.
It is. It's like layers of apocalypse, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of unusual because it's not natural disaster, it's not disease, it's not alien invasion, but it's definitely apocalypse.
Mhm.
I love that TV show.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And it is so good. And man, it's kind of interesting. This happens every time. Every time somebody like Tom Hiddleston or Lizzie Olsen or somebody comes out and says, "Yeah, I will do Marvel stuff the rest of my life." What is it, Kevin? I'll do anytime they have an option. I'm going to do a Marvel movie. And what happens every time they say this? Kevin Feige goes, "Okay, you're done. Next." It's like, ah, man, because really, Tom Hiddleston could be Loki forever
Yeah,
and never run out of good acting.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, especially, I'm not going to spoil it, but I love the end of season two because, hey, redemption.
yeah, yeah. It's
So,
a great
and
series.
we'll see what kind of role he plays in Doomsday.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great conversation. We've come up with first of all, realizing that this list of movies in this genre and the various subgenres is simply enormous. But then with the ones we came down to, I'm so excited that we've got between the two of us, two sets of nine, 18 standout, really terrific movies. I don't think there's anyone from your list that I would diminish in any way at all. It sounded like you were into my list. And we've got a lot of interesting ones on the periphery. This has been a great conversation.
It's a really diverse genre.
Hmm.
It
Surprising.
really is.
Surprising.
And there are a lot of different ways to approach it. There are a lot of different conclusions you come out with it. You get drama, you can get comedy, you get science fiction, you get
Romance.
horror. It's of course it makes sense. Nobody. I mean, as Joss Whedon put it, death is the great big gift you get at the end of life. It's death is the great big gift you get at the end of existence. And because of that, it drives or it should drive everything you do.
Mhm.
And nobody wants any of this stuff to happen, but you can tell that humanity spends a lot of time uh, thinking about how to deal with this, about how to make sense of something that you have absolutely no control over.
Yeah.
And sometimes the genre throws its hands up and says, there's nothing you can do, just wait for it to happen. And sometimes it says, hey, look, we have to do whatever we can to preserve whatever it is we have.
Yeah, and a lot of times, even when it's throwing its hands up and saying there's nothing you can do, it then says what's left is for you to either find or just be your best self. Um,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah. There's a lot of existential philosophy coming out in these movies. If nothing we do matters, then the only thing that matters is what we do.
yeah. Where'd that come from? Did you just make that up?
No, that's a paraphrase of Albert Camus by way of Angel,
Okay,
the TV show. But
got
it's Camus. It's Camus so the opposite ends of existential philosophy in France are you've got Sartre on one end, who says, who cares? Do whatever you want. It doesn't matter anyway because we're all going to die. And then there's Camus who says, no, no, we're all going to die. But that makes what you do every day even more essential. So, But yeah, that's kind of just French existentialism in, in a 5 minute explanation. But I'm more the kind of guy that goes along with Camus. We fight because it's the right thing to do, not because we're going to win.
Mhm.
And I think that's a thing we could do. We could do an episode on philosophy in TV because Angel really embraces that thing. It says, look, we're all going to die eventually, even vampires. So we have to do whatever we can every single day, every day, all the time.
Well, here you
And
go. The one we're going to do then, maybe is to refine it even more, is
there
to
you go.
talk about death.
All right, John, this was a great idea. It was all your idea. I think it naturally follows from our discussion of utopia and
Yeah,
dystopia because
absolutely.
these movies are different than those movies.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And there's a lot of good stuff out there. Well, anyways, thanks everybody. This is, as always, a blast.
Yep, we've had fun. We'll see you guys next time.
Our theme music is by Christopher Piatek.